This is the carrier, and it's about the creatures that we might create to serve us, to make our lives easier. So we have a bear chimera, a human bear creature, and he's carrying an older woman. We have this paradox of this sort of powerful creature carrying the physically inferior human. And we wonder at this relationship. We wonder about, why is he carrying her? Is it because they're friends and he's just doing it out of generosity? Or is he her servant? We know that they're connected. We can see that they're connected physically because they're touching and their hands are parallel. And they're also connected emotionally. They're both looking in the same direction. So they have this intimacy. And we think perhaps they are equal, perhaps there isn't a hierarchy going on here. But we can't be too sure when we consider how we treat the other animals that we share the planet with today. This is my work Pneutopia, and the title comes from the ancient Greek word for new, which means air, and Topia, which means space. So it's a space for air. And it comes from the experience of inflating a hot air balloon, the Skywell that I made about 5 years ago. When I went inside it, it felt really otherworldly, like it stepped off the world. And I wanted to bring that experience to GOMA, this idea of being in the gallery but in another place. And what I wanted to do was really transform the gallery, not just metaphorically but literally, by placing this massive object in here. And in fact, you can't really see it. All the sight lines are disrupted. The only way to really experience it well is to look inside of it. And to me, it's quite ethereal. It's beautiful. This is the bond. And like most of the works, it embodies the 4 cornerstones of this exhibition. And they are firstly wonder. There's a lot of wonder in this child. You haven't seen anything like him before. He's familiar but unknown. Then ambiguity. We're not quite sure where he comes from and what he's doing there and why he looks that way. Thirdly, fertility and fecundity. This show is steeped in that. Everywhere you look, there are fruiting bodies and flowers, which are the sexual organs of plants. There are pollinators and eggs and babies and maternity. And fourthly, relationships. This is a presentation of a maternal relationship between a human and a transgenic child. But this child is not just a chimera made up of 2 different species. It's been conflated with an inanimate object, a sandshoe. So in a world where we understand DNA to be so universal, so interchangeable, so able to be edited, and in a time where we understand the body to be not finite at all, to be incredibly flexible and protean, it's not inconceivable to have a child like this at all. It's not surreal in any way, and to imagine this kind of a relationship. In much of my work, I'm looking for different ways to celebrate life and a different kind of beauty. This is one of those works. It is an unashamedly strange juxtaposition of elements. Motorcycle boots wearing leather leg roots that support a tree-like torso, covered in budding elbows that grow into a bough laden with helmet fruits, on top of which sits a magnificent wedge-tailed eagle. Everything in this work is pushed as far as I can take it. It is surreal and sensual. The torso reflects the depiction of Saint Sebastian in ecstasy, and the helmets and legs come from my own love of the aesthetics of automotive painting, form and upholstery. The eagle suggests both power and freedom, but also gestures to the web of life, the interdependency of different species and complexity of ecosystems. This is The Couple, and I love the intimacy of this work. In some ways, it's a kind of anti-Frankenstein story. The monster asks Frankenstein for a mate when he realizes that his father doesn't love him. His father says, "Yeah, okay, I'll do that." But then the doctor reneges, and that drives the monster crazy, and he comes back and kills his family. This is more optimistic an outcome. Here they are, they've found each other. Maybe they're the last ones on Earth, or maybe they're on the run. We're not quite sure. But what they do have is each other. And this beautiful strength that comes from it. A strength that allows him to rest on the female's shoulder. She is the one who is vigilant. We look at them and we understand that we have the technology to create them, but destiny is in their hands.